Well, big ambitions there from the Prime Minister on levelling up, and, you know, something incredibly close to my heart and my part of the world. But let's bring in Nigel and Paul. Nigel, firstly, what have you made of what you've heard so far from the Prime Minister, and what are you expecting to see from Conservative Party conference?
He's a slow learner, but he gets there in the end, doesn't he? I mean, I've been saying since 2004 that opening the doors would lead to wages being driven to the floor and conditions worsening. In 2021, a Conservative Prime Minister finally gets the consequences of Conservative Party policy. So I guess that's good. Whether actually he'll do anything to change it, I doubt, because I suspect that actually the doors to cheap foreign labour are about to be opened again. But look, on the big stuff, it's just a series of slogans. It's almost as if Boris thinks, provided that I've said something, I don't actually need to do anything. And right now, I wonder whether he really understands just how much of a crisis is engulfing parts of this country. And all this big optimism about where we're going and no return to the status quo. Well, we're certainly not returning to the status quo. Things are worsening, and quite quickly. And I do think his optimistic comments are slightly out of touch with where millions of people are this Sunday morning.
But do you not think, Nigel, to some extent, given the really difficult 18 months we've had, that we probably do need some optimism, and we need that optimistic vision from our Prime Minister to try and lead us out of what's been a pretty dark period and into something a bit more positive?
Well, yes, I suppose you're right. A Conservative Party that's putting up taxes, a Conservative Party that's hitting small business in the most astonishing way, a Conservative Party so obsessed with building wind farms and combating climate change that who's to say the lights won't go out this winter. I mean, to be honest with you, Jenna, this isn't a Conservative Party conference. This is a Social Democrat Party conference. Now, if that's what people want to hear, that's great. But I do suspect there are many out there, particularly in entrepreneurial Britain, who would have expected a Prime Minister who'd led us through the final stages of Brexit to be doing something genuinely about creating economic growth, about lifting the weight of regulation off those millions. And I say small businesses, the same principle applies to many medium-sized businesses too. It just doesn't feel like a Conservative Party.
I think there'd be literally thousands of people walking around this conference hall later who'd probably disagree with you a little bit there, Nigel.
No, but they're not
Paul,
in charge.
I'm curious on your thoughts. Like, well, anyway, Paul, I'm curious on your thoughts, because obviously we've heard from the Prime Minister today. What do you think you're going to expect to see from the party this week? Obviously, we've had the reshuffle. We've got a load of new people in some of these really top-ranking positions of power who are going to set out their vision for their period in office. What are your thoughts?
I think Boris Johnson is quite lucky in the sense that there isn't an effective opposition at the moment. My party, the Labour Party, doesn't represent an effective opposition as things stand. And I think there is a sense that there's a loss of grip by the government on certain things, that they're being buffeted by events, which is never a good sign for any government, you know, whether it's COVID, whether it's fuel shortages, whether it's the energy crisis and the increase in energy prices. And so I think they need to show that they have a grip on some of this stuff, which frankly they haven't done over recent months. But I think also one of the key things that I'll be looking to come out of this conference is for some meat to be put on the bones around the levelling up agenda. We've heard an awful lot of talk about the levelling up agenda, but we've seen very little in the way of hard policy, and sound bites are no substitute when it comes to the levelling up agenda as far as I'm concerned. So what is their programme? Are they going to invest in infrastructure? Are they going to tackle regional inequalities? Are they going to end austerity? Are they going to seek to close the gap between rich and poor? Are they going to seek to deliver full employment? Simply moving an office from Whitehall to the north of England doesn't cut it as far as I'm concerned. So if they are going to show that the millions of voters they won in 2019, that they deserve their trust and that they're going to repay them, then I think that has to be the priority. But we'll see if it is.
The GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.